Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
This show is brought to you by Audible. They are the leading provider of spoken audio information and entertainment. You know I'm a huge Audible fan because you can listen to audiobooks whenever and wherever you want. Whether you're at the beach, the gym, or stuck in traffic, there's nothing quite like Audible. Go to audiblepodcast.com/Lutz and sign up today. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network.com. I'm Kerry Lutz, 1230 WBZT. So Ranting Andy is with us now. Just this past weekend, he's at a ball game in San Diego, one of over 100. What happens? He catches a home run ball. So perhaps, and you might agree, he's been in the wrong business all these years. Perhaps he's thinking so as well. Perhaps I'm beginning to think so too, but he's here with us now. Andy, how did it feel to catch that ball?
Boy, I would love to be in that business, that's for sure. But, you know, everyone can't be an astronaut and a baseball player. And I'm just lucky enough to have finally caught one. To me, it was my lottery. And I'll tell you, it's in my rant from yesterday, the reality repeal. You can see pictures and videos of it. It was such a crazy play. It was Carlos Quentin. He had a tying home run for the Padres. We were in the left field in a skybox. The ball came and hit the deck right on top of us, ping-ponged around the I-beams above us, and rolled down right between the two decks. And I reached out and caught it in front of 20 people, like my whole family was there. It was a pretty crazy day.
And you got on TV, right?
I'm not sure if I got on TV, but it was a very unusual way to catch a ball. And, you know, by that evening, the lore around our house was that I dived out of the stands and made this miraculous catch when I really was in, as you say, the right place at the right time.
And speaking of the right place at the right time, perhaps China, perhaps the housing bubble, the market, perhaps those aren't the right places to be at the right time right now, are they?
Well, look, I just wrote a piece that'll be out in a couple of days about the end of the carry trade and how for years the Fed and the Bank of Japan and all these central banks have created a situation where banks could borrow free and make money in just about everything. Any fixed income asset they bought was being monetized. Remember, the 10-year Treasury bond is tied to everything. So if the Fed and the Bank of Japan have been buying Treasury bonds and the Bank of China has been buying Treasury bonds, it was free profits for the bank. But they're no longer in the right place because now, forget tapering. There's going to be no tapering, and this comment didn't do anything. It just simply stated that maybe one day that could happen. The fact is, when something has gone all the way up, it can only come down. And now everyone that owned bonds is in the wrong place at the wrong time, because anything fixed income in nature is going down as we speak, and it's the largest asset class in the world. So if anyone thought that there was a big wealth effect going on, it's going to go in reverse. And frankly, the only real wealth effect that is visible in society is that artificial housing bubble that was created by artificially low rates, and now that's turning right back around.
Amazing. And did you catch the article in China? The People's Bank of China, their central bank, said to the banks, look, if you guys need money, that's all well and good. Just don't ask us. I was shocked by that. I still don't know if I believe it. I don't know what statement they were trying to send out. Are they really telling these banks that they're on their own? And what are they trying to accomplish here? Did you catch that, and did you believe it?
Well, yeah, there's been a couple of stories over the last couple of days about how China is refusing to put liquidity into the market. But then again, when the Chinese market crashed yesterday was its worst drop, I think, ever. It was down 5.5%. Sure enough, it said the Chinese bank was in there bailing out at least one bank. See, the thing that people don't understand about China is that they may not have a government that has like 100% debt to GDP or like all the Western nations, but what they've done is they've fostered a credit bubble by allowing their corporations and their banks to borrow heavily, and so they are, and their population as well. You know, that's why they have the biggest real estate bubble in the history of the planet going on right now. So the government may not be broke, but all the entities inside of it are, and it's a very dangerous situation. Again, you know, we're talking about hitching you're tying your boat to the Titanic, which is exactly what the Chinese did when they pegged the yuan to the dollar back, I don't know, 20 something years ago, because they've created all this inflation over there, and therefore it's very difficult for them to raise interest rates. They already have very high inflation. Sorry, it's difficult for them to lower rates because they already have high inflation. And, you know, they're between a rock and a hard place. The banks need to be bailed out, but at the same time, they don't want to fuel consumer price inflation even further.
Yeah, it seems like they're stuck. And if you notice, their overnight lending rates skyrocketed over 25%. And the shadow banking network, which interestingly enough includes pawnbrokers, is stretched to the breaking point. So I was thinking maybe they could get Les Gold from Detroit, hardcore pawn. Sounds like they need to bring him over there to instill some discipline in the nation's pawnbrokers, you know?
Yeah, people they don't understand, again, especially Americans, and most of the people listening to this are Americans. They get so, as I read the other day, someone says we have this thought of exceptionalism, like we're so much better than everyone else. And really, the only thing that's, quote, better is the fact that we still have the reserve currency. It's still 60% of the world's reserves. Therefore, no matter what we do with printing money, the inflation we see here, which is tremendous, it's according to John Williams, it's close to 10% a year, is nothing compared to what they see around the world, where their currencies don't have the same purchasing power. And that's why it's very difficult for nations like India and China, which are having much higher visible consumer price inflation, to reduce rates. They just lowered rates in India one or two times in the past couple of months, but they are leery to take them down lower because they're already seeing massive increases in prices. In fact, I found a quote from this Pippa Malmgren, you know what I'm talking about? This woman who was on she was a council of advisors person for Bush and for Obama. She was even on the PPT, and she has a quote. It's in a rant I put out the other day that says, to Indian people, an onion is the equivalent of gasoline. It's that ubiquitous in their life. And so when onion prices go up, it has a huge impact on their lives. And she said in the last 3 months, the price of onions are up 100%. And the prior 12 months, onions are also up 100%. And as I look at my screen right now, this is since the quote, the Indian rupee has plummeted to a new all-time low. So again, these central banks are in a very, very difficult position because they desperately need to lower rates, but they're scared of fostering hyperinflation. And it's going to spread around the world because eventually they're going to have to. When the Chinese credit market freezes up overnight and rates go to 25% on interbank lending, and there's rumors that they're bailing out banks, it's only going to get worse. And so eventually they're going to have to take the route of overprinting money as opposed to underprinting and allowing a collapse on the spot. It's the same old story.
Yeah, and we are going to pause for a moment, but up next I want to talk about F Corzine. Perhaps half a loaf is better than no loaf, and a couple other things. I want to welcome our new sponsor, Audible. I've been listening to audiobooks from them for over 5 years now. I am a huge Audible fan. In fact, I've bought multiple platinum memberships. Platinum membership, you buy 25 audiobooks at a time. I just got done listening to the first 3 or 4 books of the Jack Reacher series, the one you probably saw or maybe you didn't, in the theater, Tom Cruise movie. I mean, just a wonderful book, wonderful series, expertly narrated, and so many times I'm in the car, I get sick of listening to music or news or the radio. I just put my iPod on, plays the book, and makes that trip go by so quickly. To me, this is one of the great things of the information revolution of the internet, is that you can get over 100,000 books on your iPad or iPod or iPhone instantly. Another thing that they have is courses on Audible, the Modern Scholar series. And I've listened to lectures about World War I, Shakespeare, nanotechnology, detective novels. It's so enlightening. To me, Audible is a must-have killer app for the iPhone, the iPad, for my computer, wherever I am. I'm always downloading these books. Like I say, they're a sponsor, so check them out. They've got a free audiobook and a 30-day free trial membership. Just sign up at www.audiblepodcast.com/Lutz, Lutz. Again, audiblepodcast.com/Lutz. Sign up today. Like I say, this to me is a dream sponsor. These are exactly the types of things that I like to pass on to you because I'm such a fanatical, over-the-top Audible user. 5-6 years I've been listening, hundreds of books. I used to think I was a well-read person, and it's a little strange when somebody asks you, did you read that book? And you have to say, well, somebody actually read it to me, but they actually did a better job than I could have, so I don't mind it. But my friend Sean Perger up in Vancouver, he listens to almost as many as I do, and he can't get enough. I know you're going to love this company, love their service. I do. So check them out. audiblepodcast.com/Lutz. And we are back. I'm Kerry Lutz on the financialsurvivalnetwork.com, and we've got Ranting Andy Hoffman. And Andy, did you happen to catch they might actually bring civil charges against John F. Corzine? Supposedly, I'm not convinced, but the Times seems to think the former MF Global head might get charged civilly for the massive fraud that took place there. Obviously, you and I know he should get charged criminally, and he should be tossed away for the 1.7 or multi-billion-dollar fraud that he spearheaded. But I guess half a loaf is better than none.
Yeah, I see that right now. I guess that's today's news. Well, look, he was a major supporter of the Obama campaign. There's those famous pictures of the two of them together, and that's obviously a big reason why he was let off the hook, because there was another election. And now that there's no more elections that Obama needs him for, I'm sure he's not going to, let up on the regulators, because
he's disposable. He's disposable.
Who cares about Corzine? He's no longer a senator or a governor or anything. He's just a jerky, I'm putting it mildly for your show, hedge fund manager.
Yeah, exactly. And he can't do anything anymore. He served his purpose. He's like a squeezed grapefruit, and the juice is gone, and we don't need him anymore. But he's got his get out of jail free card, so adios, and we're done with him. But this is crony capitalism. This is the kleptocracy. So whereas we're not going to let the guy go to jail, we'll let him cast his fate in the civil justice system. If that's not an oxymoron, I don't know what is. But interesting to see that at least some measure of justice will be exacted against him. But onward and upward.
Whatever he gets isn't going to be a millionth of the damage that he's created. Not just for the people that he stole their money, but for what the systemic issues that were created across the world because of it. And, look, he was a criminal at Goldman Sachs. He was a criminal in New Jersey, and he's a criminal now. And people are still giving him money to run hedge funds because they assume he has inside information.
Yeah, and he helped further undermine the faith in the financial system and the whole system of segregating client funds, keeping them out of harm's way. And, if you put your money in the system now, I guess you're going to get what you have coming to you.
Absolutely.
So, and on that note, gold and silver, they're still basically down there, but it's indicative of the unsustainability and the next phase of the ultimate financial collapse and calamity that the world is facing. Let's face it, that's what it's really about.
Well, we have to remember here with gold and silver that everything about them is rigged. Everything about everything is rigged. In fact, one of the few things that's not, you're actually seeing reality is what's going on with Treasury bonds right now, because the Fed is still spending $85 billion a month on QE and keeping rates at zero. So they're in there buying big time. And yet Treasury bonds are falling dramatically. Just shows you, again, as the reserve currency, they are the most widely owned securities in the world, and people are scared to death of them. One, because of the inflation going on, and two, because the Fed is playing Russian roulette by even hinting that there's a possibility that one day it may slow down, even though we know it can't. But the fact is, that's a reality. That market right now, look at TLT, that's a Treasury ETF, that's real. But everything else is not. The Dow is completely not. And for anyone who says it's crashing, big deal. It went from 6,000 to 16,000. Now it's 14.8. That's not a crash. What you have seen crash, of course, is paper, gold, and silver prices. And there is nothing natural about what's going on there. It's gotten so crazy that pretty much, I would say, my guess, just from everything I've read and everything I've seen, that I would bet that 80+% of all the gold and silver mines, primary gold and silver mines in the world, are operating at a loss right now. And that's why just last week, Newmont Mining just laid off a third of its staff here in its Denver headquarters. And yesterday, Barrick announced it's laying off a third of its corporate staff in its Toronto headquarters. And I've certainly put out enough data to show that very, very few mines are profitable. And remember, it's not just that the mines are unprofitable. The companies have had no capital for years. The exploration sector is dead. You are seeing a dramatic decline in exploration spending that will fuel reduced production for years to come. But I'm talking about the current mines. The current miners are doing so badly that they're starting to cut back on spending. And I can't even comprehend how low production is going to go in the next decade because of what the cartel has done to capital availability in this sector.
For sure. And you saw that oil went down. It took a real hit. It was getting up over $97, went down under 93 for a while, and now it's back up to 95.5. So much for commodity deflation.
Yeah, I was writing about that yesterday. I mean, look, it's a fact. The commodity indexes have been getting crushed, and base metals have gotten crushed so badly that, I'm taking a guess that a lot of the base metal mines are moving toward unprofitability right now. I mean, zinc prices are down to 80 cents. I believe so are lead prices, and copper prices are almost down to $3 right now. So you're seeing all these commodities falling in price, yet oil is near its high for the year. And certainly we know that gasoline prices are near their highs for the year as well. So again, it's all fraudulent. Oil is a real market, because there's no way on earth that you could say that all the commodities are falling because of deflation, yet oil is rising and gold is not. So again, what we're seeing in gold and silver right now is such an exaggeration of the manipulation we've seen for the last few years. I don't even bother showing charts anymore. I mean, I know that the industry is going to go under soon because it's so below the cost of capital. And I also know that the global economy, aside from this little housing bubble here, which is going to be bursting any second because of interest rates, is at its lows. Look what's going on in China. Look what's going on in Europe right now. So, there's obviously something going on behind the scenes with gold and silver that's more than the average in manipulation. I think it goes back to all the declining inventories on the COMEX, the COTs showing the commercials on the verge of going net long for the first time ever. And, we wait and see. We hold the physical stuff, we're fine.